Okay, thank you for coming back this afternoon. My name is Brinsley Dresden from the United Kingdom, and I'm going to run through a few of the interesting developments in advertising law and regulation in the UK in the last year. In particular, we're going to look at influences and transparency, gender stereotyping, the ASA procedural review, and a couple of interesting ASA decisions. So the first one I've picked out is just more of the same, really, but this one was interesting because it involved Instagram. And they've been singled out by the Advertising Standards Authority for criticism on the basis that they were failing to have proper disclosures in place. So in this case, this lady called Shake Beauty, who blogs as Shake Beauty, was promoting something for flat tummy tea. And most of her Instagram images were just pictures of herself kind of wearing her makeup and having done herself up, making recommendations about various cosmetics sort of techniques, etc. But in this case, the photograph was very different. She's holding up the product, Flat Tummy Tea. But originally, there was no disclosure. In the image here, it's after things were put right and they put in #ad. But the original one didn't have that disclosure, the hashtag, so the complaint was upheld. And similarly then, Snap also came under the spotlight last year. This lady called Marnie from Geordie Shore, which is some kind of dreadful reality television program, and she was promoting a couple of products, some tooth whitening product, I think, and some colored contact lenses, again, without any kind of disclosure that these are advertisements. In both cases, the advertisers tried to say it was self-evident that it was that they were adverts, but that was held not to be good enough, so the complaints were upheld. On to gender stereotyping, the ASA produced a very interesting report on all the harm that can come from gender stereotyping last year, and they've promised that now, in the spring of 2018, so anytime now, they're going to consult on a new rule. Gender stereotyping won't be banned completely. They do accept that you can still have ads showing men doing DIY and women doing cooking, for example, but they are saying there are going to be some rules about how you portray things. And then this was just an interesting example from last year of a complaint that was upheld. The headline, "The Best Way to Get Laid." This was an amusing pun on the fact that these people sell artificial turf, you lay artificial turf, and men and women get laid. So that was the basis of their whole ad campaign. And they tried to say, well, the image itself is fairly innocent. It's just a shot of a woman's legs. What's wrong with that? And the ASA said, well, it's still sexist and stereotypical, so therefore they banned it. Other aspects of gender issues, there's been a lot of concern about unhealthily thin models. This was an ad for Condé Nast Traveler. Interestingly, it was for a travel magazine rather than being, say, for clothing or for cosmetics or anything. So no direct relation with the product, but even still, the ad was banned because it was deemed that this woman really is unhealthily thin, which I think most people would agree. This one, objectified women. This, bizarrely, is an advert for toothpaste, as you can tell from the image of a naked woman's legs. There's quite an amusing explanation they gave for their creative processes behind the thought, but this was held to be objectifying women because they reckoned that there was no really convincing reason why you would advertise toothpaste with an image like that, so that was banned. The ASA also issued a performance review last year, authored by Dame Janet Paraskeva. This was a damp squib, this document, very disappointing. She didn't really talk to the right people. She certainly didn't talk to me. I could have given us some fairly trenchant criticisms of the ASA. One thing they did say was that they are going to look at the different review procedures, appeal procedures, if you will, with other UK regulatory bodies, but with also other advertising bodies around the world. We worked long and hard on this particular case for Oak Furnitureland, whose whole advertising campaign was no veneer in ear. That was banned following a very, very flawed investigation. We managed to persuade them to overturn it on appeal, but the appeal took a year, so that wasn't really satisfactory. A couple of other interesting decisions. This one got banned, Always Bet on Black, promoting the Floyd Mayweather fight. That's a line that comes from the famous film with a Hollywood star whose name has popped out of my head, Wesley Snipes, but it got banned. inadvertently racist. I think they didn't really, I didn't think this through fully. They didn't intend to be racist, but it did cause some unhappiness. This one got banned because this actress talks about how she was bullied at school for being very spotty. And the ASA decided to encourage children to bully other children for being spotty, clearly not what was intended. And then finally, some interesting decisions, all published the same day, about the liability of advertisers for advertising put out by their affiliates, even though they haven't controlled it. So in this case, the ad encouraged people to bet by having this ridiculous little film where the guy supposedly says to his new wife on their wedding night, "Oh, darling, I've just won millions of pounds and now we can afford a new house." But it was the advertisers who got banned. The ASA said you should be controlling your affiliates and making sure they're not putting this out, although they haven't actually explained how the advertisers are supposed to do that. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Delia from Visha to talk about Switzerland.